And we are recording for episode 5 of the Super Sunday podcast. We are here with Richard. If you'd like to introduce yourselves to the channel.
Hi, I'm Richard Carson. I am a actor, singer, performer, musical theatre performer, living in London.
Yeah, and this week we are here to talk about and discuss topics of current situations and how current worldwide events have been affecting more than what people realise. I think theatres have been massively undermined in the current situations. I know Macintosh said that no shows were going ahead in terms of like 2021, I think, and how it's been affecting down in London, theatres closing, and what that means for you guys as performers.
Yeah, it's a huge change. I mean, we're all itching to get back to work, really, and I think it's just gaining clarity. I feel like that's what we're all missing. I feel like because there's such a huge void that no one knows, because there's so much uncertainty, that I think that's what's making everyone a little on edge, you know?
Yeah. And am I right in thinking that you're in Les Mis, or your current show was Les Mis before this whole event happened?
Yeah, no, I'm well, before everything happened, I was in Les Mis, and as far as my contract goes, I'm still in Les Mis. But it's all to do with when we go back. I mean, as long as my personal aim is to make sure that I do have a job to go back to.
Yeah.
And at the minute, that seems like it's going to happen. But like I say, you can't tell how long this is all going to go on for. So, I mean, that's why it's keeping all fingers crossed, you know.
I mean, every 3 weeks it seems like we're getting more and more restrictions, but they're more and more told that doesn't make sense for a lot of people. And I guess for you guys, like you say, the uncertainty is going to be insane for everyone because you're all in the same boat, you know.
Yeah.
How many people are in the company for Les Mis?
In the cast, there's about 33 people or so, but then you've got stage management. There's about 6 or 7 people employed as self-employed stage managers, and then you have all the you have people that are employed by Cameron Macintosh Limited that are part of the mostly self-employed, and they take on contracts, and then you have people that are employed by Delphont Macintosh who are employed within the building, and I think that they're more under employment. So in terms of everyone under the Cameron Macintosh bracket, I guess there must be 150 people perhaps.
So everyone's in the same boat from top of the hierarchy of theatre. I'm going to say.
Yeah, you could say so. I think the people that are employed, they're more on furlough and things like that at the minute. They've got a slightly different situation, whereas us on self-employed, because we're not getting paid anything, I guess, at the minute. We are essentially still on contract, and that's what we're kind of waiting on for an extension. So hopefully the government can get involved, and we can keep our jobs for a bit longer.
Yeah. So before everything kind of kicked off and like the build up to this whole lockdown, did you guys have any idea what was happening, or was it just sprung onto you like this is your last show or that was your last show? Like how did that all happen?
We sort of kept an eye on it in the news, of course, but we never expected that it was going to be this huge. I think we knew that something was going to happen. We thought maybe March, April time, April, May at the latest, probably. We thought perhaps we'd be off work for a little bit, a couple of weeks, a couple of months at the most, maybe.
Yeah.
But it came around a lot quicker, and then we turned up to work, and it all just kicked off because they were saying, "Can everyone meet on stage? No warm up, but can everyone meet on stage?" And that'll be, we're sort of going to we need to talk to you about everything that's happened. And then that even got cancelled, and they just called over the tannoy and said, everyone go home. We'll update you with an email in the next few days about what's happening, and that was it. So we didn't even really get a chance to say goodbye to each other. We just sort of we didn't really know what was happening.
It's kind of one of them things that have happened without realizing, like in terms of an outcome that could have been your last show the night before or the day before, whatever it was, and you didn't realize that was it until it happened. And it's quite daunting for a lot of, you know, especially if it was a cast member's first show, or if it was you know, you're working as an ensemble collaboratively day in, day out. Is your rehearsal schedule, like, how does that work in terms of
how does our rehearsal schedule work?
Usually, yes.
Starting a show. So ordinarily you would have maybe five weeks rehearsals probably till you open, depending on how big the show is. But because this was a new version of, well, not a new version, there's a new version that went out on tour, and because this was that kind of new version that was coming into town, we had a slightly longer rehearsal period because they kept changing things again. So essentially this is a brand new version again, essentially. So we had 5 weeks in the rehearsal room, and then we had 2.5 weeks tech in the theatre, where you start putting on costumes and you start figuring out where you're standing with the lights, and then you figure out your costume changes, and then you keep rehearsing your quick changes. So overall, we must have been about 7.5 weeks before we opened. But I've also had a 2-week rehearsal period for a panto before. That was easy. And then I had maybe 5 weeks for Mamma Mia, because that was essentially changing up, because you're changing casts. So it can vary, but I'd say for West End shows or big shows, you're looking at about 5-6 weeks.
So on average, 5-6 weeks you've been building up for this opening night. And then how long were you performing for before this whole event lockdown?
We did 97 shows. 97. So we opening night was middle of December, I think, and then our final production was middle of March. So we did just less than 100 shows. The thing that people don't know about as well is that unless you're a principal or a lead, essentially is what I'm saying, then your rehearsals will finish round about after you open. Whereas if you're an understudy, the rehearsals carry on going, because you've got to start learning the roles that you've got to cover. So our rehearsal process had just finished. So we've been rehearsing since October, and then we finished rehearsals the week before we got cut off. So we didn't have a chance to sort of relax into it, I guess.
So like for 5-6 months, you very in theatre, you form a family almost with the cast. You know, you see each other, you begin to pick each other's like habits, you eat together, you drink together. Probably some of the last people you see, and the first people you see as you go out into. And so it must have been quite hard to make that very quick switch of, I'm all of a sudden now not going to see these people, or I'm now all of a sudden not going to be able to live life normally, and you have to adapt to a new normal almost, or in a. How have you coped with that? Like, what have you been?
Well, we're all in the hope that every single one of us who finished that contract, or not contract, finished in March, we're all going to join again. We're all within that mindset, hopefully. So essentially, the family stays together. I would hope. But so for that, every week I've been doing workout classes for the cast, and I've done a quiz for the cast every month. Someone else does a yoga class every week. so we try and keep in contact like that. There are a couple of people in the cast who I haven't spoken to since we finished, and that's their choice. But there've been quite a lot of people that have got involved with these to try and stay connected. But yeah, it's a funny one because we weren't actually at the end of our contract, and we think we're all going to be back together again at some point. You didn't prepare yourself for leaving people. So I mean, I've been in cast changes before where I know I'm going to leave, so I can start winding down and going, oh, okay, it'll be nice to see them on the outside, or I'm not going to see them in the show anymore. Whereas this was just sprung upon us, and everyone just kind of felt a bit lost for a few weeks, you know, because no one really knew the seriousness of it all.
Yeah. And to change a schedule within 24 hours, really, because you don't have time to adapt properly.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, everything's gone from 0 to 100 quickly.
Yep.
And therefore you kind of lost what to do. I know for me, it's a bit different, and we'll get onto this later on, but from a degree, for a degree just to stop and then be told that you're not having your end of year show, you're not having your graduation, you're not having that last goodbye, you're not having the final show night out, you're not having the celebration of commemorating your whole experience. It's just, there's not a word for it, because I want to say disappointing, but I feel like that underplays.
Yeah, no, yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you mean. You just can't imagine. I can't imagine being a third year, for example, and not having my end of year shows or whatnot, or people that you've been spending a couple of years training with, and then you're done. You know what I mean? It's unthinkable, really.
And our performances were moved online. We had to edit. We still had to perform as an ensemble, but from individually in our own home. And it was just so weird adapting to a new lifestyle of education or performance study.
Yeah.
And I think you're always learning when you're on stage, whether you've been doing it, this is your first show, or whether it's your 100th show, you're always learning something. Or how did you adapt in the sense of, have you done online performances? How have you kept performance training, singing going?
Well, I actually, unashamedly, I mean, I'm actually not too bothered at the minute, but since we all broke off, I haven't done anything in terms of singing or anything like that, because I mean, that's not because I've not. I feel like I don't enjoy it or I want to get away from it. It's just because, I mean, I've been lucky with having jobs fairly consistently since I've come out of college. So I haven't had that much downtime. And when you don't have a job, you are still auditioning and you are still thinking about the next job. So for now, because there is no performing out there, there's nothing going on in terms of, I don't need to get a job right now. Yeah. I've enjoyed not doing anything, you know, but I'm fully aware I can't keep going through this lifestyle for too much longer, because it's a muscle, especially my singing. It is a muscle, and you've got to be able to keep hold of it. And it's not like it's going to be lost, but it's just going to take a bit of time for me to get back with the stamina, you know. But lots of people saying that. Lots of people have been doing. I mean, my girlfriend has been doing a lot of online play readings and Shakespeare. There have been some online singing lessons and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, there's so much out there. So I know a lot of people that have been keeping on top of everything a lot more than I have. Yeah.
So, like, run us through a typical show day where you've got a matinee and an evening performance. Like, how usually what you would do compared to what you're doing now, in the sense of like keeping like your vocals warm on the muscles, or practicing what right. You've got to do.
Well, every day before a show, you would be in what time is it? About an hour and a half before the show, and then you would do a 15-minute vocal warm up, a 5-10 minute physical warm up, and then you would do, because I was the fight captain as well, I would then run some fights that were in the show, because the new version of Les Mis has got a lot of physical. It's very physical.
Yeah.
It's quite violent at times. So I'm responsible for that. So then I would have to run certain sections just to make sure that everyone's safe and do all that kind of thing. So that would be the typical way. And I think through repetition, you're naturally staying on top of your craft. Like, you don't, because it is your job, but you don't realize just how much practice that you're getting just by doing your job. Do you know what I mean? So I would be doing 6 vocal warm-ups a week, because you would have, on a double show day, you would just have one before the matinee, you wouldn't have one again in the evening. So Monday to Saturday, you do 6 big vocal warm-ups, 6 physical warm-ups. You'd probably go into the gym a couple of times a week. You'd obviously be doing the show, which is with Les Mis is a 3-hour show, so it's a slog. On a matinee as well, I mean, you'd hang out with the cast in between. You'd have it finishes 5:30, just before 5:30, and then you have to be back in the building until 7. So yeah, you have a bit of time to go out, have some food, do all of that, and then you'll be back in get ready for the evening show. So yeah, in comparison to what I'm doing right now, it's not a lot.
I mean, in terms of what you were doing and what you're doing now, unfortunately, I don't think there's really an awful lot that you probably can do, or that you wish you want to be doing more. Like you're saying, you're doing your Instagram workouts it's a Friday, isn't it? At 1.
It used to be Friday. I'm going to change that, but yeah, it's now going to be Sundays. But yes, I still do one of those once a week. Yeah.
Am I right in thinking, are you a qualified PT?
Yeah, qualified. Level 2 means you can train people in a class, fitness instructor, and then a level 3 means you can train people personally. So yeah, I've got 2 and 3.
And have you always done that alongside theatre, or has it always been a recently new thing that you wanted to get into?
I picked that up. I was doing my training course whilst I was in Mamma Mia, because I had quite a bit of offstage time during Mamma Mia, and I just wanted to fill my time by doing something productive. So I did my level 2. I did my level 2 for most of Mamma Mia, just to sort of do bits and bobs, and then I finished my level 3 just after it. So yeah, it was something just to kind of have on the side, because fitness was a big passion anyway. You've got to, especially during Mamma Mia, you need to look good, and there was a lot of physical training and whatnot just to get certain physiques that they wanted for that show. So it was a passion anyway. So I thought, why don't I try and combine it and have that as a job when I'm not working in a show. So yeah, that was good. Rather than, I mean, there's nothing wrong with working in a bar or working as a waiter or waitress or anything like that, or in a shop. But for me, I would just rather be doing something that I have a passion about when I'm not on stage, you know. So yeah, that's how that all came about. So I've been doing that for about 3 years.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't realize that offstage, a lot of performers actually have their own lives. They've got the jobs, they've got things that they need to, everyone's got errands that they need to be running or people to meet. They've still got, would you say it's more of a, if you're part of ensemble, like you say, everything's still carrying on, or if you're a principal lead, that it's still classed as a hobby as well as a job, and that you all have a main, like you would all be able to run jobs off?
It depends how hard you want to work yourself. I feel like it's definitely not a hobby. It's definitely a full-time job. It's very, very taxing. I mean, I've got nothing against anyone that wants to sit in an office and do what they want for 8 hours in a day. They can do it till the cows come home. But I do feel like, in terms of physically and vocally demanding, being on stage is a lot more demanding in that sense. So people sort of look at that job and go, "Oh, it's easy," but It's not.
No.
So people can do some things during the day if they want, and I know a lot of people that have. But those people that run two jobs at the same time, being a West End show and do something else, are absolute shells of human beings. They have no personality. They're just working themselves into the ground, you know. Because you've got to give a lot in the evening. Even if you're having a really bad day, you have to strap a smile on your face, and that's sometimes exhausting. You know, you don't want it to feel like work. You want to be enjoying yourself at the same time, don't you? So, yeah.
I mean, being part of productions, like always the level, like you still have to go out there and put on 110%. Probably like, I'm going to use that as a metaphor, because the audience have paid between 35 and over £100 a ticket.
Oh my God, yeah. The tickets on Joseph, some of them were about 220 quid.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
And they pay to see a knockout performance, you know, you know, when you're in a school show, your opening night, by the following night, the standards drop a bit, and you guys will know backstage what has gone on, what has maybe not running smoothly, but you've still got to put on the same standard of show every night, even if your mentality is taking a knock, or you're tired, or because it shows. And one of the first lessons is you always have to put on a smile and always perform, even if you've gone wrong, even if you're tired, even if you've not eaten and you're running on low energy, in the sense that you're struggling to move about the stage. You still have to, that's the job at the end of the day, and people have paid to see you perform.
100%. Yeah.
And I'm going to take this for example, like whole cast numbers. So from Miss Saigon to Les Mis, you know, you've always got that big number, whether it's at the barricade, you know, how many people are on stage at the same time, or how many at the finale, or at the end of Act 1 in Miss Saigon, where, you know, it's a big number that gives you goosebumps, and it's the whole effect of it all. You've paid to see that happen, and you have to always put on a smile. Is it hard? Like, have you ever gone in a show and gone, I'm struggling, like I'm really lagging here?
All the time. Yeah, it happens all the time. But it depends on what show that you're doing, in terms of how you can use it. So I felt like I struggled sometimes with Mamma Mia, because I loved it, and I thought it's like one of the most fun shows that I've ever done, and one of the most fun shows you'll ever see. But it's so much fun to an audience, because every single one on stage is having a lot of fun. And if they weren't having fun, you wouldn't be enjoying it nearly as much. Like, there's only so much ABBA you can take, you know. So I would find that if I was under energized, or I didn't want to be there, it would I felt like it would deny the audience the experience that they wanted coming to see the show, you know. Whereas in a show like Miss Saigon or Les Mis, if I'm feeling a bit down, or feeling a bit out of it, or a bit angry about something, I can use it. I can use it in an emotion at a certain point. So if I ever went on for Chris, or if I ever went on for Javert, there's certain times when they're experiencing extreme trauma, or some kind of anger or something. So that's a good way of expressing that personal experience, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas, like I say, in Mamma Mia, there's not many angry moments or anything like that. So, yeah, it's a struggle.
Surely you must be in a car and someone plays ABBA and you're now like, turn it off, please. I can't take any more ABBA.
Do you know what? When I first finished Mamma Mia, I did feel that way. Now I don't mind it so much. You see some people, if they put on ABBA and they know I've done the show, they'll look at me and see how I'm reacting, and I'm like, guys, they're tunes. Do you like?
Yeah.
That's fine.
And even with Lame, as you said, you've done like 97 shows, and I'm pretty sure everyone will be able to quote for quote, word for word, every lyric, every line. And backstage, you find yourself, you know, singing the lyrics in your head, or you know what's coming next, and you can psych yourself up, you can prepare.
Yeah.
Mentally, how has it been not having that, like, ready to go on stage? Like, mentally, how has it been on you being in lockdown and not having this get up and go, this get up of, I'm on stage next time?
Yeah. To start off with, for the first maybe 6 weeks, I mean, I was itching to get back to work, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like some people look at you and go, that's a bit sad that you want to go back, that you're dying to go back to work or whatnot. And I'm like, well, no, because this was my dream show. Like, this was the one that I was gearing towards wanting to do, and I loved it. And yeah, I feel like now I'm still itching to get back to work, but I've managed to control it a lot more now. So I'm not.
Yeah.
It's not as hard, and especially after Cameron's announcement the other day, I can now prepare myself and just kind of go, yeah, as rubbish as it is, I'm going. But I have a timeline that potentially I'm going back to work then.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like I could probably give myself another month or two of just enjoying the lockdown and sorting a few rights in my own life and organising myself a little bit, and then I'll probably get a bit too itchy and I need to get myself some kind of job just to keep myself entertained, you know. But yeah, it's not been too bad. It's not been too bad.
Because also on it's not just on stage that's been taking effect. It's everything backstage, from viewing, a lot of like funding for the arts, for example. I know a lot of people have been pushing to support an arts charity, or is there anything you would say to people that watch this to do if you're in the arts, in the industry, or wanting to support the industry?
I say if you already want to support the arts, then you're well on the right track. I feel like if you have no idea and you don't know how to support, or if you want to support the arts, I just sort of encourage people to do so, because people perhaps don't realise how much the arts has helped people through this lockdown. Like, people might go, well, it's probably not affected me so much, but they're probably watching a series on Netflix. And just because we're on stage doesn't mean that we're not artists, the same as people who do TV and stuff like that. So we're all fit under the same bracket that the government calls non-essential.
Yeah.
But this is what has been entertaining people throughout the whole of lockdown. You know, if people didn't have this, then I would like to see how many people would be sat there reading the paper or reading books the whole time, you know, not having any TV, not having any series, not having any kind of theatre to watch or whatnot. So I would encourage people to look into that, and hopefully they'll get on our side a little bit. But if you want to encourage it, then there are charities like Acting for Others. You can, the National Theatre, any of those would be great charities to donate to. But I feel like the best thing you can do is stay inside, because people sometimes are sort of taking the mick a bit, really, and there's a reason why it's taking so long to get back to normal. So if everyone does their part, you never know. If people want to take it an extra step, people can write to their MPs about it, which what our industry have been doing, and signing petitions about supporting the arts. And it's just unfortunate that we have a government that doesn't look at the arts the way that we deserve. Really, they don't realise how much money that we get given, how much the arts gets given, how much then projects back into the economy. And so it's unfortunate, really unfortunate.
I mean, as I mentioned, I think it was in last week's video, that the government have now cut funding in terms of me being a teacher. If you want to specialise in arts and drama, they've cut the whole bursary funding for that now. And
and it's all been insane on, unless you're doing maths, English, science, or law, and kind of everything that they see that could lead you on to be, we'll go key worker, or you can inject more back into the economy and things like that, then you don't get funded for it anymore if you're going on to do a PGCE.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And that's been hard to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a good segue, because myself going into doing a PGCE, you took the route of going to Mount View and going into performing rather than coaching, teaching, or what was the whole process of that from kind of leaving college? Like, how did you get into the whole performance side of it rather than another route?
It was by chance. I don't know if I ever told you this story, but it was completely by chance that I ever got into any kind of performing, because Linda, our sort of head of drama at the time, needed someone to work the follow spot during the Paice Lees production of The Hired Man.
Yeah.
And I just sort of turned around and said, I'm free. I don't mind getting it. I don't mind doing it. I'll like, normally the people that do the lights and whatnot get a box of chocolates at the end of it or something. I was like, sounds like a decent deal, you know, so I'll do that. And I just saw how much fun they were having. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna audition the next year. And then I got into High School Musical, but I got the part that I wanted, that I originally put my name down for. And I just had the most fun. Like, I just can't explain it too much. So I think my parents sort of thought, oh, it's a nice hobby that Rich is doing. And when I turned around to them and said, I want to do this for real,
yeah,
they were surprised. And it took them a while to get on board with it. But then I did a school's version of Les Mis with Act 1.
Yeah.
And I was Valjean in that, and Mum and Dad came to come and see me in that, and from that moment on, they've just been nothing but supportive. They were just like, you got to go for it, you got to give it a go. And thankfully, the first school that I applied for, Mount View, I got in. I also tried for GSA and I tried for Arts Ed, and neither of those two worked out. But it turned out that Mount View was exactly the right thing for me. And yeah, I went there, did my 3 years there, which were the hardest, but yet the most rewarding 3 years of my life. You meet friends for life there, and you get so connected because of what the emotional journey is like. And like I said, the whole thing has just been so much fun going through it, and it's just been a roller coaster since then, because then one of the first auditions that I got was Wicked, and then I got that, and I was like, this is happening. Like, there are so many people. What people don't realize are, if you want to go to drama school and you get into drama school, that is incredible. It's fantastic. Like, yeah. It's so good. That's already a massive stepping stone that you've made. But there are so many people then that go to drama school, do their 3 years, and then don't do anything. So then once you get a job, or once you get something that you're on that train from, then it's such an incredible feeling. And it's you from then on, you just keep riding the train, and that's exactly what I've been doing. And I'm having so much fun. Yeah,
I think you've got to have fun with it. Otherwise, there's no point. Like, if you're not doing it because it, like, you're enjoying it or you're not having fun with it, then there's no point in.
Yeah.
And performing isn't for everybody. You know, they're directing, script writing. You know, there are other aspects of theatre that people overlook, or, you know, some of the greatest directors out there, you know, that have directed at National Theatre or at taking that stepping stone. I'm going to use Sam Mendes for an example. And there's so much more to theatre backstage that people have fun with, and that don't realise it because they see it in school as just drama isn't serious. You know, you're doing drama as a GCSE or at an A level or at uni, and it's massively overlooked. But people do have fun with it because you learn a lot more from it than what than what is given credit for.
And you do find as well that a lot of people who do performing arts or any kind of drama or dance or whatnot are much more creative people in life as well. So you could be an absolute brain box in maths and science, and if that's what you're doing, you got an A level in that, then great, good for you. But in terms of a personality and a creativity as a whole, as people who do performing arts and drama, and just there's a you can see a difference. I hope I don't offend too many people by saying that, but I feel like there is a certain character sometimes that comes with having that kind of creativity so predominant in your life.
And some people struggle to get that creativity going, in the sense of that. So for me, for example, I'm more kinesthetic in the sense that I like getting up and doing. I like learning. I like putting things into practice, experimenting around, and some people are missing that element of life, like in the sense. So my sister's just doing her A levels now, and doing like dance just because it's an enjoyment, and you have that creative flow, and you can let everything out because she has fun with it.
Yeah.
And yet like you say, you'll get these people that do maths, science, English, and business as 4 A levels, which is all theory based, and it's kind of like head down to paper, and put them in a social situation, and unless it's something they're familiar with, they won't react, or won't. You ask them to do a presentation, and most of them at first are shy, but then you get the drama students that want to get up there and just do it.
More hands on.
And you have to give credit to those people which people struggle with, because I don't think the arts has ever been really taken seriously, and unless you're doing it, you're big time down, like you are down in London, West End. It's a profession, and then people will watch a show and they'll be speechless and go, wow, I never expected that from a song or a piece of theatre.
I mean, if I had a quid for every time that people knew that I was going down to London to study musical theatre and do all of that, and the amount of times that I've had the reaction of going, or them saying to my parents, or even to me, and go, oh, so how's Rich doing down in London? And they go, oh, he's actually in the West End Les Mis. And then they go, what? Are you really? And you go, and it's like, yeah, some people can make like very good careers out of this. It's not a nothing subject, and it's not just like it's not super easy or pointless or whatnot. Like, there is a lot of material to this, and that's what people seem to forget.
And I don't want to sugarcoat this in any way, shape, or form, but it is a hard industry to get into. It will take, there will be auditions, roles that you don't get, you will get turned away. I know, for example, I got refused a role in the big like show audition. It was professional theatre. It's the first one, because I have tattoos, and unfortunately, you just have to go with the knocks. You have to go with the flow and take it on the chin and learn from it. Like, it really isn't an easy industry to get into.
No.
But what you get out of it, you should learn something from not getting a role, or you should take a point of, okay, I didn't get this part, or I didn't get in the show, or why didn't I? I put myself through 3 years at a uni or a drama school, but I didn't get in, so it's pointless.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that there's roles that everyone's gotten that they really wanted but turned down for because of a point of view that you might not just be what they image, or it's always based off someone else's directorial approach of what they see on stage or what they think fits a character.
Yeah, 100%.
Is there anything that's like been really difficult from, like you said, your first show was Wicked, which was a tour?
Yeah.
I think we came to see it with Han Lees in Milton Keynes, I think it was.
Milton Keynes, yeah, I remember.
Is there any shows that you wish you have done, like wanted to do, or is there any shows that you auditioned for, and any hints and tips out there for people that have taken rejections but don't really want to carry on?
I think it's okay. So to start off with, I think shows that I've wanted to do or anything like that, I got very close to doing West Side Story. I got to the final for Tony in that, and then I didn't get it, and I was quite disappointed with that. I also got to the final for Phantom in town at one point, and I didn't get it, and I thought that was really going to work out. So there are shows that I've got on the list that I really want to do someday, kind of thing. But
yeah,
say for example with Les Mis, this is my 5th time trying, and I've got to the final every other time and then never got it. And then this 5th year that I've done it, I got to the final and it worked out. And it worked out on this brand new production. And I would have never been a first cover Javert prior to this.
Yeah.
And then just this was a brand new production, it all worked out, and I got that. So everything works out for a reason. So kind of segueing onto people sort of getting rejected and whatnot, rejection is part of it. You just have to find a way to turn it around and say, okay, it didn't work out this time, but it might work out next time. Or obviously it depends if you're auditioning for a show that is going to be there all the time. If it was a one-off show that's happening, then that is what it is. However disappointing it is, you can't let it get to you too much.
Yeah.
I hate auditions in general, so I'm happy to get through an audition, and then if I get it or I don't get it, then it obviously can be exciting or it can be disappointing. It is what it is. But people have got to realise that there's more rejection out there than there is acceptance.
Yeah.
Into something. And like I say, unfortunately, that's part of the job. Any way that people can feel, if people turn around and say, do you know what, this industry isn't for me, I can't deal with that much rejection, 100% respect. You have to be able to take a step back and go, do you know what, it's not for me.
Yeah.
Great. But if there's any hope whatsoever left in someone, and if someone goes, oh, I'm so disappointed that I didn't get that, I'm thinking about giving up, but there's just something holding them back. It's that courage that you need to hold on to.
Yeah.
Because it's tough, but it also that you care. People are disappointed because they care.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes heartbreaking for someone to be rejected about something that they care so much about, and want to give up. So yeah, it's a tough one, because there are people who have not done things for tens of years and then get a job, and then it works out for them, and it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
I think if you're going into this industry anyway of drama, it's kind of something expected, but until you've gotten that first rejection or that first setback of, I've auditioned for Marius, but I'm part of trying to think Thenardier's gang, and I didn't quite get the role I wanted, so therefore I'm gonna drop out. Or I got ensemble. You always get them people that get ensemble instead of a lead and go, I'm not putting my time into this. Like, it's not. I'm better than what I've been given.
That's a tough one, because if someone gets an ensemble role or a cover and feels like they should be the part, that's sometimes dangerous water to tread, because it also, like you said before, it has a lot to do with the director, it has a lot to do with the image of the show. There's so many factors. If you're playing the love interest, and you'll need to look good opposite your love interest. So you need to work as a pair. So that might work against you or it might work for you. So yeah, it's dangerous. This industry needs to be filled so much with, yes, confidence, but absolute modesty. Like you can't. I have a real pet peeve with people that think that they're better than what they get. You need to always keep your feet on the ground and be thankful. And it's great thinking, you know what, I could play that part, but you can't, because then it very much has a negative connotation if you take it too far.
Yeah.
Then you start despising the person playing the role because you think that you're better than them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a hard one.
Does it happen a lot? I'm not asking you to name any names. I'm not asking you to call people out, but does it happen a lot in terms of, because I know in school shows it's very different in drama schools at uni. It happens quite a lot, but professionally, do people still take that element with them and run with it?
Like I said before about like being understudies and feeling like they're better than. Yeah, that happens all the time.
Yeah,
all the time.
It's a quality that people seem very hard to shake. Of I'm better than. I shouldn't be first cover Marius or Chris or whatever the role may be. I should be the lead. I should be on every night as.
Yeah.
But being part of the ensemble isn't a bad thing.
No, not at all.
Just so many shows that I've watched, if it was just the main characters on stage just doing monologues, solos, without the ensemble, like you take away the ensemble of a big show like Wicked, Miss Saigon, it wouldn't have that impact that it does.
Yeah.
For anybody that's watching it, let alone if it's your first time experiencing theatre.
Yeah, it's like you say, that very often there are understudies that are better than people who play the part, and that happens a lot as well. So like I say, the people that are the roles and people that just say, do you know what, I'm only going to ever play roles, sometimes they've just got into that bracket through no fault of their own. It's just that this director particularly liked them, and then they're on. That's it. But people need to, like, I've gone through this a little bit where I played Sky in Mamma Mia, and then I got another role after that, and then my agent and people were saying, you know what, you need to push for roles. But I actually enjoy being in the ensemble more than I do playing a role. Like if I get to play a role every now and again, like being an understudy, it's great because you get to sort of switch it on, switch it off. But being in the ensemble, it's just a lot more. There's a lot more togetherness. You're a bit more of a family. Or it's just something that I enjoy a lot more in that sense. And
I know from experience that playing the lead, the accomplishment, the feeling of reward at the end when you come out, you do your bow, the final number, that sense of achievement is insane. Like it's enough to make people cry, goosebumps, it's a lot. But being part of a family of an ensemble, I think for me, I'd rather do 10 shows, like 10 different shows as an ensemble member, rather than 5 lead roles of musicals that or plays, whatever people specialize in. Then like the weighing up of it never made sense to me of why would you turn down a role in a big show like Les Mis. It's very hard to grasp the concept, but it's a quality that people have from the get-go, whether it's almost implemented by coaches. I think I know a lot of people that are like, my parents say that I'm better than this, so I'm not going to do it. How much impact agents have on the whole thing, I don't know. But in terms of coaching, there's a lot of factors to take in of theatre.
Yeah.
Was it hard at first, like you said, you got quite lucky in coming into theatre. Was it hard at first because your first one was a tour, adapting to, I'm now no longer a student, I am a performer, I need an agent, I need this, and this? Like, what was that whole process like for you?
It's all one big learning curve. So you need to feel that as a graduate, you've got to realise that you are bottom of the social ladder in terms of this career. Like, and that's not me talking down graduates. I was a graduate once, but what people have got to realise is that there are a lot more people. Like, your career starts once you've graduated and once you start working. So there are people out there who have worked a lot more than you as a graduate, and so you have to earn your respect as a graduate, because no one owes you anything. Just because someone says, "Oh, I trained at Arts Ed and I was the lead in this graduate show," no one cares.
Yeah.
You know, I personally, I don't. I'm sure I was nearly swore. No, I don't care. But how someone acts on the outside world in a job is what matters to me. Like, if someone is a graduate and someone comes in and is playing a role, and I'm their understudy, just because I'm covering them, I'm not going to give them any more respect than they deserve.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna brown nose them just because I want to play the role, you know. So it's tough being that graduate and whatnot. But you've just got to keep your head low, and you've got to try and learn from people, keep learning, and then before you know it, you've got your next job, and then you're bumping up kind of thing. So it's tough. It's tough in a way. It's tough in a way, but it all comes through time. And making sure you're on top of your game. Yeah. Always listen to people. Always be on top of your notes. Keep learning. Make sure that you come back with rehearsals, implementing the changes that you were given from the director. Make sure you take on notes. Don't backchat to people. Don't think that you're bigger than you are. And eventually, your respect will be earned by people, and that's how you make your way through this industry.
And with it being such a niche industry, I'm going to say niche because it's not everyone's go-to. You know, going to watch theatre isn't what everyone does, but in a sense of a niche industry, your name, I'm assuming, will get thrown about to different directors, different producers, different choreographers, People, obviously, I'm gonna, you've got your show reel, your highlight roles, but you have to be careful, because once your name, I'm going to put the metaphor of a black mark next to it, or you're known to be egotistical, or you're known to be this big boisterous attitude.
People talk.
That's
exactly it. You just never know who you're going to be working with. And look, I've been working in this industry for about 8 years now. I've not had much time off, so I'm not saying, by no means am I saying that I'm top of the ladder. In absolutely no way. I've got so much to learn. I've got so much still to go. But I know a lot of directors. I know a lot of choreographers. I know a lot of A-list musical theatre performers who are leads after leads after leads and whatnot. So I have a little bit of leeway in this industry. I know people know me. So what people got to realize is, for example, if somebody I work with starts backchatting me, who's a graduate, who has literally no respect, turns up late all the time, is a nuisance on stage, keeps mucking about, and then a director says to me, "What do you think of X?" I've got nothing to. I owe that person nothing. So I'll be honest. I'll say, look, they're an absolute pain in the arse. You can't employ this person and whatnot, and then more than likely they won't work with them.
It's having that etiquette of understanding.
Completely. Yeah, it works both ways though as well. Because if I badmouth someone, or I know that I can lose jobs through not giving people respect. That's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah. It's kind of like that saying of that showbiz, in the sense of that all these personalities make up a show, all these, and it's okay to carry it with a character. You know, it's okay to, I know a lot of like different taking on roles, if you're method acting, or you know, you're training under a character, that there are times where it's okay, but having that differentiation of I'm now having to play this person, or I'm having to rehearse with this person that I don't particularly like, but I'm going to get on with it because it's a profession.
Yeah.
And even though you may think you're better than someone, even though you may think that you're a graduate coming into this big wide world and you're the next top dog in the business, it is not going to work.
No.
Is there times where in a show that you're working with someone, or that you're having to put all personal aspects of your life aside just to get by on a day-to-day basis, where they are the lead character and you've not agreed? Or say if you were performing with your girlfriend, for example, and you have to turn off that emotional connection, that mentality, that
you have to. There's a way you have to separate it completely, and that can be tough. But I mean, there are some times, like, you don't want it to ever sound like a job, but there are times that inevitably will be just a job, and you are just doing your duty, what you signed your contract for. You know, I mean, myself and my girlfriend, the way we met in doing Miss Saigon, and to start off with, it was great. It was like, oh, I'm working with my girlfriend, and it's brilliant. But then if you have a fight, it's the worst place. You don't want to be anywhere, but you want to be anywhere else but that place, you know?
Yeah.
So it's tough to switch it on and switch it off. But like I say, you've got to just remember that as soon as you walk onto that stage, you're in a completely different world and you're a completely different person. You can't just be like, oh, hey, remember that fight we had? Like, I hate you, but I'm supposed to like you on stage. You know, it's not. You have to find a way to separate it completely.
Yeah.
I mean, out of ease, I hope there are quite a lot of people that I've worked with before that I don't have to work with again, because some people I've just not liked or not got on with, or didn't think they were professional, and that's just the nature of it. But more, it's such a massive pool of people, but at the same time, it is also kind of quite a small pool of people, because you find that you do start working with the same people.
Yeah.
So inevitably, you will cross paths with people again. But like I say, you've just got to find a way to deal with it. Otherwise, you're going to drive yourself crazy, and you're not going to enjoy a job nearly as much as you should.
So, rounding up about the experience of working in the West End and working on stage, before we move on to, I've got a couple of questions in from certain people that have asked, like, what's Rich's favorite show that he's done, for example. We'll move on to some more positive questions, because we've covered a lot of heavy topics. But if you were to sum up so far your experience, what would you say to graduates or people trying to get into theatre, and what would you say is like the biggest learning curve that you've learned, as best you can, summing it up?
I think I've covered quite a lot of that already. I think to sum it all up, I think if you best you can, you got to just keep going. You got to keep positive. You've got to find something outside of theatre that can keep you sane. Like, you've got to find ways to be able to turn it on, turn it off. Because if theatre is your life and you're constantly being rejected, it's going to eat you up. You've got to find things that are going to keep you happy on that, away from it. You know. I feel like in terms of my biggest learning curve, I think it's that element of respect.
Yeah,
I think that is so important. I think you've got to know when to turn it on and turn it off. If you're having a laugh on stage with someone, you've got to you can't just do it completely unearned. You can't just be someone who mucks about all the time, and you've got to always respect people that have perhaps worked more than you or that are much older than you, who know the industry a lot differently to you, the way that you do. So always start a job or start drama schools and things, never going in thinking I'm better than this, or this is just a stepping stone to another job, or anything like that, because that's dangerous water to be in.
I think theatre is always going to have this competitive nature, as well as being fun and being a hobby. And that's what we've learned doing drama as a degree compared to being on the West End. You learn a lot more theories, a lot more how to go about directing, how to go about casting, script writing. There's so much more elements of differences between going down the performing side to I'm going to say a theoretical element of it.
I think and I've learned far more being on the job and being out of college than I ever did when I was in college. You learn so much when you're in college, but you learn so much once you're in the real world, you know.
And what I will learn going into a classroom, meeting so many people, like when I was on my placement, I met so many creative people, so many, like everyone in the class brought something to the table, whether it was just a simple idea of staging something, as to when you're performing, you have to, like, is there an element of the director asks for your input, or is it just their way and that is it? Or
it depends. That entirely depends, because it depends on the director. So most good directors, in my opinion, will take on what you want to say as well.
Yeah.
If a director says, look, do it this way, I will say, yeah, sure, but I will try and implement it in my own way.
Yeah.
You know? But no, there's always, I feel like I've been quite lucky. A lot of the directors that I've ever worked with have been very, very giving and very understanding, and they will listen. I think that's what makes a good director, to be honest.
Like, as well as being a teacher, I do want to go into directing, you know, kind of take on that directing the school show, whatever it may be. And some shows are limited based on stage directions, rights. You do have to stick to a limitation of how much can the script change? What can I change? How much can I input my own ideas, values, characterization?
Yeah.
But in a cast of 20, 30, practically, it would be a shame not to use their thoughts, their ideas, the imagination of.
Yeah.
And that's why it's very hard to direct a show on your own. Very often will a director have a co-director and a producer.
Yeah.
And in terms of being a performer compared to a director, there's a lot of differences, and we could be here all day discussing so many differences. But on to some more. So on Twitter and things, there are a couple of questions that people want to know, people have asked.
Okay.
So out of all the shows that you have done, what's been the best? And if you can, people put best/worst. I'm not sure if you can say worst.
I can't really say the worst. I don't think I look back at any of my jobs and think, God, that was awful. So thankfully, I won't say that. But best, I think has got to be Saigon. I think for me, I think I think in terms of what I got out of it and how much I put into it, I feel like it was on a whole nother level. There are a lot of positives to loads of different jobs, and I've like I've said, I've been lucky and I've been very happy in a lot of my jobs. So I only really picked Miss Saigon because that just had a special place in my heart, I think.
Yeah. Next one. If you weren't in the West End, or if you weren't in drama, what would you be up to, like professional wise? It's very hard to answer these questions because you never see yourself doing anything else but that.
Yeah.
But what do you think you would be doing in terms of?
Before I went off to drama school and stuff, I was applying to universities for biological sciences, so like environmental sciences and stuff like that, which is bizarre to think that that's what I could have been doing. I did some placements as well of environmental science companies and environmental companies. So yeah, I right now I don't see that that's what I would have been doing.
Yeah.
But I think something along the media side, I think I probably could have done, like commentating or something like that. Like being on one of those, I feel like that's so much fun. Or like presenting or along those kinds of lines, I think.
What do you like doing in your spare time?
My Xbox. That's the way. That's what's keeping me sane at the minute. I feel like that is a whole different of a passion. The amount of times that people hear gaming and go nerd or anything like that, and I'm like, do you know what? I don't care. I'm a self-proclaimed nerd. I don't care. But I think that's what I've kind of been doing, and it's also a good way of me keeping in contact with people from back home and whatnot. Like I have some mates on Xbox that I've known since I was 4.
Yeah.
So I've known them for over 25 years now. So yeah, that's the way that we all keep in contact. Other than that, myself and my missus, we do a workout every day of Instagram workouts and stuff. We've got our weights, we've got our kettlebells, we've got our dumbbells and stuff. So that keeps us entertained. Yeah.
What sort of games do you play? You're an Xbox person, I'm a PlayStation person, but you're saying gaming, like what sort of games are you?
At the minute, I'm big on Destiny 2.
Yeah,
that's what I'm playing at the minute. That's all what we're playing. And then if I want a bit of a break from Destiny 2, then I'll get on Warzone.
Call of Duty. Yeah.
Call of Duty Warzone. Yeah. I just have the free to play one. I don't have the base game. We just play that. Do you remember Craig Nash?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get on Warzone occasionally with him. Yeah.
There's no one apart from having Linda on Facebook. There is no one from Paice Lees really that I'm in contact with anymore, apart from my best friend who I grew up with, Reese. Other than that, there's no teachers, no. Like, yeah, I used to be close to people like James Hyton and you know.
Oh yeah.
And we and him did a couple of pantos together, but there's no one really that I've managed to stay in contact with.
That's just the nature of life, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's nothing. There's nothing. You can't blame yourself for anything for that. That's just people do drift apart and whatnot, and you just gain new friendships here and there and what. So yeah.
Have you ever thought about going into the whole movie TV world of acting?
I've never actively pushed it. I think it's good that it's also part of being a performer. It's within that bracket that people do make that shift. But a lot of people don't realise it's almost an entirely different industry.
Yeah.
So it's very rare that someone will be top of their game in musical theatre and then make a shift into being very high up in TV.
Yeah.
You often, if you make the switch, you will start at the bottom of the ladder, and that's just how it is. But it's a shame. The other way around, if you're top of your game in TV, very often you'll probably get something in panto or in musical theatre or whatnot if there's like a token celebrity type person. But the other way around, within the national bracket of TV, very often if you're just going in at the bottom of the ladder. So I would. If I get offered something in TV, I would of course do it. But
Yeah.
I've never looked at it and gone, I've got to do that. You know.
Yeah.
I like the live theatre aspect.
Good segue on to, is there a TV show you're watching now? If not watching, what was your favourite TV show?
I mean, I love Game of Thrones. I hated the last season, but I love Game of Thrones. So that was one. The guilty pleasure, myself and my missus watch RuPaul's Drag Race, which it's hilarious though, you know. So I mean, we always watch Friends on Netflix. We've probably been through it about 6 or 7 times, the whole series. I think in terms of good series that we've been watching, what was it? I mean, you've got classics like Breaking Bad, and I thought it's probably the best series I've ever seen. What else have I been watching? There's been like Killing Eve.
Yeah.
God, it's all just shot out of my brain.
I watched season 1 of Game of Thrones and didn't like it. I didn't watch any more after season 1. No.
It was such incredible TV, and then the last season, it all just got a bit weird.
I mean, I've watched Breaking Bad. I've watched Prison Break. I've done Sky TV, like Ballers, Banshee. I'm working my way through it all. But a lot of, I don't watch regular Saturday night telly anymore. Very rarely do I turn on TV. It's all through Netflix, Now TV.
Yeah, Disney Plus. Yeah,
I'm excited for Hamilton to come to Disney Plus next month.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited to watch it. It'll be good.
Have you seen it live?
Yeah. Pardon?
You have seen it live?
Yeah, I watched it. One of my good friends who I did Miss Saigon with is he's cover George Washington, and when he was on, I got a ticket to go and watch him. And it was brilliant. It's so good. But there'll be something. I mean, I was way at the back, so I didn't get to see much of the kind of emotion and stuff. You just watch people moving around stage and you kind of get the gist. Whereas I'm excited to see it on a TV screen.
Yeah.
And see a little bit more closeness, you know. Hopefully it's a bit more raw.
I was really impressed with the stage adaptation of Newsies.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And the same again with Miss Saigon. I got the DVD and the live stage. The 25th. I want to say 25th.
Yeah, I was in that.
You was, yeah. But having that, you can see the zoom in the camera and facial expressions, emotions, and it is very raw and visceral. And I know the ticket queue for Hamilton was insane. Like trying to get a ticket, it's just not.
Yeah.
I've not seen it. I've seen Phantom, Les Mis, Miss Saigon, and I've seen more part of like plays than the musicals. But down in the going to see a live musical is just one of the best feelings that I've ever known.
There's nothing like it. No.
The best musical that you've watched, if in terms of going to see live, what's the best musical that you've been to see?
I don't know. Dear Evan Hansen was brilliant.
Yeah,
I've seen that, and that was really good. Questionable if that's the best musical I've ever seen. I feel like there aren't many. It might be sad if I've sort of thought of this. I mean, Les Mis was always, when I first saw that, when I came out of that, I thought that was phenomenal when I very, very first saw it. But recently, since being in college and since working, there's not been many musicals that I've watched and come out of and gone, that was phenomenal. That's changed me or anything like that. I have come out of a play thinking that. So I came out of a play, watched Network at the National, and I tell you that was out of this world. Bryan Cranston was the main part, and he's the main guy from Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Oh my days! It was get goosebumps thinking about it now. So yeah, that will be one that stuck with me. Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to openly admit, and shamefully, I have fallen asleep through plays. I've also had them, like I say, just because this is a standout moment that sticks with me through theatre. The end of Act 1 for Miss Saigon is phenomenal, like with the lights, the ensemble, the vocals, and it always sticks with me. And you'll always have that play or show scene that will stick with you throughout, that goes, that got me emotional, that got me connected, like to, because that was one of the first, I think it was, apart from school trips, that was one show that I saw 2 or 3 times, I think. Just take people, same with Les Mis, I've seen that about 6 or 7 times now. And each experience is different, depending on where you sit, depending on who your cast is, and I'm so grateful for having that experience and being able to say that I have been to see X, Y, and Z. Next one. Now, I don't know if you can say, but is there have you got anything lined up after Les Mis?
No, I couldn't be able to say that anyway, but I can tell you right now that there isn't, because of so much uncertainty at the minute. Les Mis is the end game at the minute, and because it's always been my dream show, I actually would like to stick around in it, I think, for a bit.
Yeah.
Because I've never done a show for more than a year. And that's great when you're young and you need to get out and see loads of different shows and do that kind of thing. I'm getting a little bit to an age where I kind of get to the middle ground of kind of being a little bit too old for like a juvenile lead. And too young for like the dads in Mamma Mia. Do you know what I mean? So there's a little bit of a shift, and that's fine. But like, I've just worked so hard to try and get this particular job that I'd be stupid to give it up.
I think once every blood, sweat, and tear has gone into pushing for a main role. You know, you see people that just go back and audition time and time again for the same role of wanting that particular love interest, for example. Like Raoul in Phantom is one of the most auditioned roles according to the research, like, because everyone has that dream role. So you said Les Mis is your dream show. What is your dream role?
One that I haven't already played. I mean, Chris was a big deal, and then if I could play Chris full time, that would be great. And then Javert was another one that now obviously I'm covering, and if I ever played the role full time, great. But if I didn't, then that's not the end of the world. I think other roles that are out there. I did play a role in college, Bobby in Company, and I would love to play that professionally, as well as John in The Hired Man. I would love to play that professionally. Those are the sort of roles that I look at. But I'm a little bit, I'm not very well educated in new musical theatre. And I wish I was. So there are a lot of musicals out there now that I just don't know well enough that I should look at more to try and figure out there might be something coming over from the States next year or something like that, you know?
I mean, I'm probably going to get crucified, but there was a university trip to see Everyone's Talking About Jamie.
Right.
And I just didn't like it. It wasn't my cup of tea. It wasn't the genre of theatre or musical that I enjoyed most.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you will find that there'll be shows that you hate, there'll be roles that you can't stand. Is there any musicals that you were like, no, this is me, this is what I want to do? Or would you always be open to an experimenting of?
Yeah, no, I would be open. I would be open. I mean, I never thought in a million years I'd get cast in something like Mamma Mia, because
Yeah.
I was always like, I'm so lame as it hurts. You know what I mean? I was like, my vocal type, my look. I mean, now my hair's grown out a bit. That's a little bit more down that line, and people have always said you're so perfect for Les Mis, and that's something that I've always thought is my bracket.
Yeah.
And then I got cast in as Sky in Mamma Mia, and I was like, oh, do you know what? Like, I actually really enjoy doing something a bit different, and learning learning not to sing with any vibrato, or learning to dance a little bit more, and having that kind of side to like another string to my bow, if you like. So I'd always be open, but there have been some shows that I've had auditions for from my agent, and I've gone, really? And then those are the jobs that I've got.
Yeah.
I did a rock show, for example, at the other palace called Myth, and when I got it, I was like, this is not me.
Yeah.
Not at all. Like, why are you putting me up for this? And then it was like a hard, like, rocky kind of show, and then I got it, and I was like, and I had just the most amazing time.
I think it's the ones that catch you off guard the most, that you go into with, because you go in with an open mind. You know if you audition for Javert and you get the role, what you're going into, and unless there's a big directorial change that Javert is this, he's the villain, he's the strict, down to like point character. And those rocky shows, like you're saying, that you'd least expected to get, or you least expected to play, are the ones that you sometimes have the more fun with, because you experiment and you learn what you can do with a character.
Yeah.
Just a couple more. Have you ever been recognised out of the West End and gone, oh my God, you're Richard Carson who played Chris in Miss Saigon?
I've not by sort of random people, I feel like, but there are a lot of theatre fans, lot of theatre fans, and I've got a little bit of a following from people that have watched me in certain shows and people like things like that. So I have been recognised out. Like, if I've gone to watch a friend in something, and then there have been some fans there that have also watched me in something else, that's as close to a celebrity as I'll ever get. Like, people will be like, oh my God, I saw you in da-da-da-da, and you were so great. And I was like, thanks. All right. Yeah. I don't ever really know how to expect too much. I'll always have a chat with them, but I'll never get sort of too overexcited about being recognised or anything. But never by random people. Sometimes by ushers that I've been at their theatre, or something like that, if they're still there or something. But nothing too much bigger than
that. Next one is, do you sing in the shower?
No.
No,
I don't. I like I said, I've not sung at all since we got since lockdown, and so I've barely sung at all. I need to get back into it, but I actually get quite conscious about people hearing me sing, funnily enough, and I like to just do it when I have to.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't like just singing around the house or things like that. Yeah, weird.
And finally, if you could duet with one other person, like, who is your dream duet with?
Dream duet? I don't know what. Anyone.
Yeah, we'll go with anyone. Or if we're limited in terms of song, who would you like to partner in a scene with? Like, who is your dream?
If I could partner in a scene, not necessarily sing with them, then I would pick someone who's like a powerhouse of I would consider them an incredible actress or an incredible actor, like Bryan Cranston, or people that I've seen in theatre, like Jenna Russell or Patti LuPone, or people like that who I've just watched and just gone, you're an absolute powerhouse.
Yeah.
So I think something like that I would love to do a scene with. I think in terms of singing with, that's a tough one. I mean, I loved singing with Eva in Saigon. That was really great. So let's just for the sake of that, let's say that again.
That's fair enough.
I get more excited about who my dream acting partner is than my dream singing partner, I guess.
I think in terms of, it's always hard to say I want to duet with this person, because you will know yourself that it doesn't always match up, like tones, like vocal range, pace. There's so many aspects that go into singing that takes time, practice to get the vibrato, to get the crescendo on certain notes. It can take hours of practice to get into a theatre song right, especially if the composer is, or your musical coach or is having his own switch on take on things. I think that's everything, unless I scroll. Most of them we've covered in terms of like what got you into theatre. Who inspired you?
Who inspired me? Oh, that's a tough one. I guess initially it was Linda.
Yeah.
I feel like initially it was that. I never really had a certain performer at college or anyone that I went, I want to be like you or anything like that. It's never been like that. But I think I can always put Linda down as an inspiration, because she's the one who went, you should do this. You should give it a go and take it more seriously, kind of thing. And it's not that I was never taking it seriously enough, but as in you should seriously consider having this as a career. And so I'll always, that's why I always went back to helping Linda out and stuff and teaching and stuff, because I will always want to give something back to her, because I owe a lot to her, you know.
I mean, anybody who went to Saigon and Les, if you watch this, you'll know Linda. If you're into drama, that Linda was a big inspiration for everyone. Both Linda and Pete, to be fair, I think played their role. And I don't know if it was the same for you when you were there, because for those that are watching this that don't know, me and Rich went to the same college, but we were, how many years in education are we apart?
2, I think.
Yeah.
2 years, I think we were. Were you the same year as Craig?
No, I'm the year below James Hyton.
Oh, maybe there's about 4 years difference then.
Yeah. My last show was We Will Rock You. So Les Mis was 2 years before that.
Okay.
You just found out, or that you couldn't tell us that you were doing Miss Saigon. That was the year we did Les Mis.
Right. Okay.
If that puts a timeline on it.
That was I did Saigon for nearly 5 years ago now.
Yeah. So it'll be about 4 or 5 academic years between.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was the same for when you did your A levels. Did you do performing arts A level?
I did, but I stayed on for an extra year because I did 5 very academic AS levels.
Yeah.
And then I did, in my A level, I added an AS performing arts and then stayed for an extra year and did that. Yeah.
But anyone who did GCSE to A level drama will know Linda, performing arts, Linda and Pete. I had Julianne as my third. I don't know if you had a third teacher.
No.
No.
I had Julianne a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. But Linda's a big inspiration to everyone, I think.
Yeah. Well, Julianne never really believed in me.
No.
Yeah, I had Linda and Pete, who were very. Linda was the most supportive. Pete second, and Julianne, her favorite was Ace, Adam Painting.
Right.
And she was very supportive of him, but would never, she just seemed to have a thing against me. And then all of a sudden I made it. And then every time I went back to school, she was like, so good to see you doing so well. I was like, you never believed in me, but thanks.
It's funny to see people's reactions from how you were as a student compared to how you make it in life. And Linda's always organised a school trip to come and see you in Wicked, Miss Saigon. And it's always nice to have that inspiration or that connection with the teacher that first got you into drama. What's your favourite venue to perform in? What's the best theatre you?
The Wales Millennium Centre, the main one in Cardiff.
Yeah,
it's huge. It's fantastic, and it's such a good space. I did Wicked there, and it was phenomenal. The best by far.
I mean, I've seen many stages. Does Les Mis still have the revolving stage?
Nope.
No, is that gone now?
Now the revolver's gone. Yep.
Mad, because the first 4 or 5 times I think I saw it, and it was the revolving.
Yeah,
stage.
This is different. This is all front on.
I need to come see it when we're allowed. I need to come and.
Yeah.
I need to come and see it. But that's all the questions that I've got down from Twitter and things like that. If there's anything that you'd like to add or mention or ask me, then far away.
No, I'm. That's brilliant. I think we've covered a lot. We've covered a lot of stuff, and it's very importantly as well. We got people. We've been telling people about how it's affected the arts and just how many people are out of work at the minute, and I think we've brought up some awareness to do with that. So that's the most important thing to me at the minute. So yeah, it's great.
That's I think it's a big thing for everyone like yourself, and like you said at the beginning, like everyone's in the same boat. I will leave a link down in the description to performing arts and like the charities that you can donate to, and I will leave also your Instagram bio if that's okay with you for people to get into, if they wanted to see what else you're doing, and also I'll leave a link to the Pocket Size Theatre question interview as well.
Oh yeah, great. Okay.
Just to create more awareness for everybody, because that's what theatre needs right now, and that's why I chose to do the episode this week and ask Rich to come on it.
It's very good of you. It's good.
So thank you for coming on.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
No, you're more than welcome. And and who knows, once this is all blown over, we might be able to do another one of later on
how everything's all changed. Yeah.
What's the new normal, so to speak?
Yeah. That'll be interesting. Good.
Perfect. Right. I hope you guys have enjoyed this podcast. Tune in next week for episode 6, and I'll see you all later.